It was one of those random Saturday afternoons when the boys and I decided to embark on a casual adventure. The kind where you have no real agenda, but life always surprises you with a story. We were headed to a certain high-end car showroom along Kiambu Road in Nairobi. I wasn't planning to buy a car, yet my old Mercedes-Benz E-Class was still serving its time. But hey, window shopping never hurts anyone, right? Plus, it's good to expose the boys to the finer things in life so they can dream big. In tow were my 3 sons, 2 teenagers with a perpetual air of coolness and one under 10, whose oversized jumper was slipping off one shoulder, socks slightly mismatched, and a pair of yepo sandals that had seen better days. I was in my element, rocking a floral dera and trusty Bata Ngoma rubber shoes. Comfort over fashion any day. As we walked in, I greeted the first salesperson at the door with my usual cheery, "Hello." He mumbled something resembling a response without looking up from his phone. Not one to be discouraged, I waved at a group of employees huddled behind sleek desks, all deeply engrossed in their computer screens. Or was it Instagram? The boys and I wandered deeper into the showroom, admiring the shiny beasts on display. Sleek sedans, monstrous SUVs, and one tiny electric car that my youngest immediately dubbed the fridge. "Wow, Mom, look at this one of the teenagers exclaimed, pointing to a bold, metallic red SUV that practically screamed, "I own the road and the air above it." "Nice, right?" I said. "Let's see how much it goes for." But here's where the plot thickened. I walked over to the nearest salesperson, a young man in a tailored suit. "Excuse me, could you help me with some pricing information about this car?" I asked politely. He looked up briefly, glanced at me and the boys, and then, without a word, turned back to his screen. I blinked. Surely he didn't hear me. I repeated myself, this time a little louder. He made an effort. He sighed loudly, shifted in his seat, and then ignored me altogether. I looked around. The other salespeople were busy in hushed conversations, some laughing, others still glued to their screens. Not one acknowledged our presence. "All right," I muttered under my breath. The boys and I carried on exploring the showroom on our own. The youngest was having the time of his life, opening car doors and pretending to drive, while I tried to focus on the cars, not the rising frustration bubbling within me. After 10 minutes of being completely invisible, I turned to the boys. "I think it's time we leave," I said with a forced smile. They nodded, and we made our way to the exit. And then, the moment that solidified the day's experience happened. As we were walking out, a white couple walked in. You'd have thought Beyoncé and Jay-Z had entered the building. Every single salesperson sprang to life. Chairs scraped back, footsteps rushed forward, and voices chorused greetings as though it was a choir rehearsal. The couple was immediately surrounded by eager faces, all ready to assist, and the energy in the room shifted like someone had turned on a switch. I smiled. Not the happy kind of smile, the kind where your mouth curves up, but your eyes are doing their best to hold back the fire burning behind them. We stepped out and headed to our car. The boys, now unusually quiet, watched me closely, likely gauging my mood. Just as I was about to start the car, I heard hurried footsteps behind me. "Excuse me, madam." I turned to see one of the salespeople, a woman jogging toward us. Yes, I asked, my voice calm, though my patience was fraying. Did you get what you were looking for? She asked, her tone saccharine sweet. I gave her the same smile from earlier, that deceptive curve of the mouth. Oh, we're fine, I said lightly. Thanks for asking. She nodded, hesitated for a moment like she wanted to say something more, and then walked back inside. As I drove off, the boys finally broke the silence. Mom, why did they ignore us but went crazy for those mozongos? One of the teenagers asked. That's a good question, I said, keeping my voice steady. Was it because of how we were dressed? The younger one chimed in. Or maybe because you were in Batangomas? I laughed a little at that. It could be a lot of things, I said. But let's talk about it when we get home. Back at home, I gathered the boys around for a little chat. Boys, let me tell you something important, I began. What happened today wasn't about us. It was about them. Some people make assumptions about others based on how they look, dress, or even the color of their skin. It's called profiling, and it's wrong. They listened intently, their young faces serious. But here's the thing, I continued. You don't let other people's ignorance or biases define you. Today, those salespeople judged us. They assumed we weren't worth their time because we didn't look like their typical customers. But that's on them, not us. Why didn't you just yell at them? One of the teenagers asked, his voice tinged with frustration. Because anger doesn't solve anything, I said. Sometimes the best way to deal with such situations is to remain calm and let your actions speak louder. If I ever decide to buy a car from that place, I'll make sure to deal directly with the owner, and I'll tell them exactly why I'm doing so. The youngest piped up. So, it's like when someone calls me names and I just walk away? Exactly, I said, ruffling his hair. You maintain your dignity and let their bad behavior speak for itself. And so, you may ask, what is the moral lesson? To all employees, own the businesses you work in. Treat it as if it is your own. Attend to customers without profiling. See how those salespeople failed to meet their targets because they profiled me, thinking I could not afford the cars based on how we looked. Also, to business owners, put the right people in the right places, empower your staff, and train them enough to serve customers better. Some do not even comprehend the harm they are doing to business by profiling customers based on how they look. Remember, someone once told me that people with money do not always dress to impress. If you like this story, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Cheers and have a good one.